Are you lost in the chaos of today's society? If all you need is a daily dose of quick updates on social matters around you, then look no further and tune into The Far Side, an 8-minute social inquiry podcast by English Club of Foreign Trade University. Strap in and get yourselves ready to look at the world from a whole new perspective. And it all starts right now.
Hi, welcome back once again to the Far Side podcast, and we are now in episode 5. I am Maya, and my companion today is Cam.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here again with you guys in this episode.
So, last time we talked about a very controversial topic in our society, that is the issue about LGBTQ plus community. We together discussed the history of coming out and dealt with some misconceptions about biological sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation. While researching more on this matter, I came across a new phrase, that is toxic masculinity. It is known as one of the main culprits for LGBT inequality, or in fact, the whole gender inequality. It means the LGBT has disturbed gender standards that have long been accepted in society.
And that's why they have to face up to social discrimination and prejudices.
Exactly.
Well, to make sense, I think we need to understand the term masculinity first. Well, masculinity is a set of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are generally considered appropriate for boys and men, such as toughness, self reliance, and courage. It's a social construct distinct from male biological sex, therefore, it differs by region, religion, culture, and other social factors.
You mean masculinity is like gender identity? Because it is based on what people think rather than what they are naturally born with? Is that right?
Yep, you got it right.
So, when does masculinity become toxic?
Well, the definition of toxic masculinity varies in different periods and social contexts. In general, toxic masculinity is some good traits belonging to masculinity which have been overstated. Well, in other words, society describes masculinity with negative words such as aggression, sentimentality, and sexual violence.
I would say the toxic masculinity sets the standards of a true man, such as breadwinner, muscular muscles, understanding women, or drinking alcohol.
How true is that? This notion was imposed on men from a very young age. For example, little boys are not allowed to show weakness. If they cry, they will be teased at girls. Consequently, they grow up under the pressure to show themselves that they are tough and manly.
Toxic masculinity, accidentally worsens femininity. It says being feminine means that you are weak, you are going to be discarded by society sooner or later. It also forces men to show off themselves negatively.
Yeah, to be honest, I see that many cases in which men show off to others have gone wrong and even been ridiculous. Self-reliance is necessary and men are encouraged to be self-reliant when they are kids. And toxic masculinity makes men afraid of asking for help. They tend to do things alone and often suffer from depression, stress, and even anger.
And they take suppressing form emotions, masking their distress for granted. This is what creates a huge barrier against psychological treatment.
Yeah, and people in today's society also think men need to be tough all the time and don't concern much about what hardships our dads, our friends, and our men confront because according to gender norms, men are supposed to behave like that. Just like women are responsible to take care of children and household chores from Monday to Sunday. And if men do women's job like household, doing laundry, washing dishes or being a house husband, they obviously gonna be scorned and humiliated.
Yeah, in almost every Vietnamese family, banquet and meal are often women's duty. The husband would rarely lend their wives a hand before and after meals. is time for dads, grandpas, uncles to sit back and relax. But with mom, grandmas, and aunties, they have to cook the meal and wash the dishes.
And that is a vivid example of not all norms are as normal as we see. Well, in this situation, toxic masculinity turns gender norms into a giant lie, no more, no less.
You know, this is also popular in America. In 2014, a survey by Harvard University found that young Americans believe that personal success is more important than taking care of others. And that is not what I want to talk about, of course, but the survey shows a big problem, which is toxic masculinity. The image of success in America look like Jeff Bezos in a suit, not a single mom who has to do a lot to care for her children or teachers who work overtime to give the best instruction to their students.
Yeah, to be honest, I've also read it recently. Personal progress at the expense of others is embedded in American culture. This self-centered mindset is the product of toxic masculinity, and it explains why so many people still endure Donald Trump in spite of all his wrong saying about human rights and about women.
Yeah, the beliefs that powers is paramount or anger is the only acceptable emotion become more common. It is Donald Trump that becomes a symbol of these toxic beliefs.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm kind of a bookworm, and there are some books talking about toxic masculinity in the same way. The book I Am Sorry to Think I Have Raised a Timid Son by Kent Russell is my personal favorite back in high school. I would say that it is such a blistering and deeply personal book. Well, it records Russell's quest to understand through his journalistic subjects, his own appetites and urges, his persistent alienation, and above all, his naughty, volatile, vital relationship with his father. He gives us a haunting and unforgettable portrait of an American and a paradigm of American manhood that we have never seen.
Can you tell me a more detailed paradigm of American manhood?
Well, he pitches a tent at an annual 4-day music festival in Illinois among the misunderstood, thick as thieves fan who self-identify as juggalos. He treks to the end of the continent to visit a legendary hockey enforcer, the granddaddy of all tough guys, to see how he's preparing for his last foe, obsolescence.
Well, this actually reminds me of the book Voicemail, the untold story of the professionist men's movement.
Wait, I think I've heard it somewhere before. Well, is it the book by Rob A. Oken?
Yes, it is. It brings us to the stories that chronicle the social transformation of masculinity, including its growing global dimensions. The book may explain how the gender equality men's movement is committed to both redefining masculinity and championing women's rights at a time when sexism is touted at the White House, and many white males feel emboldened to try to subjugate misogyny in women. Voicemail is a critical guide for anyone concerned about gender justice.
Yeah, according to what I remember, what mentioned in the book aims to eliminate or change toxic masculinity. But this cannot happen overnight. Personally, it may be simple enough for individuals to educate themselves about their attitudes toward masculinity and hold space for others to help change their definitions.
I agree. Besides, we can invite friends to share their emotions or feelings about the topic, and openly discussing them without judgment or criticism can be a good way to move forward.
Well, in short, to put an end to toxic masculinity, we need to make a gradual change. First, we as a community have to test our basic beliefs and ingrained misconceptions. Then, we need to assert that housewives are as valuable to our country's health as working father.
And finally, we need to uphold that everyone is unique with their own habits and identities. Just respect yourself and those around you. And that is also the end of the episode. As always, I am Maya.
And I am Kim. Goodbye for now, and we hope to see you guys soon.
And that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy what we do here, visit our Facebook fan pages, English Club of Foreign Trade University and Mastermind, English Social Inquiry Contest, for regular updates, and we would love to hear your take on the matters we just discussed. A quick reminder, new episodes come out every Monday and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on Google, Apple Podcast, and even Spotify. So make sure not to miss it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.